Allow God's living waters to wash over you and refresh your soul.
You've been praying for yourself when the answer is in praying for other people. While I'm praying for California, God shows up in my house.
As kingdom people, with the king in us, and us being sovereign ground, we're not governed by the laws of this land, but we're governed by the laws of heaven.
He's talking about you going to draw water from the wells of salvation. Where's the well? In you.
If we want to release the water, watch this, we don't have to pray for it to come. Where we are now, we pray for it to be released.
Release deliverance and transformation in every area of your life through God's living waters. This revitalizing 3-message series can be yours on CD or DVD when you visit our website or call 1-800-591-8480 today.
It's the catalyst for change you've been waiting on. New Mind, New Me, from Bishop David G. Evans.
I want to be loved. Why do I take the person that loves me and kick them to the curb? I want to be wealthy, but I spend all my money. You were created and given a slave, a doulos, a servant called your mind. Your mind is out of order when it questions your command.
If you are ready for true transformation, Bishop David G. Evans would like to bless you with the New Mind, New Me 4-message DVD set. Order today, and you will also receive Bishop Evans' national best-selling book, Healed Without Scars, as well as the Healed Without Scars music CD.
My mind's going where I tell it to go. It'll never go back. It's my mind. It's going to do what I say.
All yours when you visit our website or call 1-800-591-8480 today. Be prepared to watch a new you emerge.
What if you could make one decision to unleash everything great in your life? Would you do it? Would you say yes? Aren't you tired of your relationships, your health, and so much more suffering because you lack the truth you need to change? The life you desire is within your reach. You can achieve all the success, happiness, and prosperity you deserve by simply learning the secrets that lead to real personal transformation. Change is hard, but not impossible. You just have to make one radical decision to get real. And there's no better authority on the real steps to change than David G. Evans.
Some men trust in chariots. Some men trust in horses. But we will trust in the Lord.
David G. Evans is leading the charge to bring you the power to change your life. He is committed to the mission of helping you transform and become a person of power, and it starts with his all-new system to change your situation. At the centerpiece of this life-altering collection is David Evans' groundbreaking training course, From Ridiculous to Radical to Real. This means war. In this series, you will discover the steps to change. This series includes 2 powerful messages, each on winning the battle in your mind and cultivating a language of faith. That's 4 messages, 4 power-filled hours of material. If you want a better marriage, this series has the answers. If you want to achieve financial independence God's way, the secrets in this series will empower you to make it happen. If you want a life of power, anointing, and influence, this series will show you how to get it, and there's more. You're looking for serious, immediate results. So Bishop Evans will also include one of his best-selling messages called Weapon of Warfare. This classic teaching will build you up to start fighting in the spirit for what you deserve. This powerhouse collection, From Ridiculous to Radical to Real and Weapon of Warfare, will give you all the biblical strategies you need to change anything in your life. This collection will ship to you immediately with your gift today to David G. Evans Ministries. This ministry is revolutionizing the kingdom by empowering believers. Souls are being saved daily, and we need your help to grow this impact in a real way. Call now and sow your seed of just $35 for your transformation to help people around the world. Your $35 love gift goes straight to the front lines of ministry, providing help to those that need it most. Call now. Make the decision to get the power you need to change your life forever.
Praise the Lord, everybody. Welcome to On Point, the #1 Saturday morning Christian-based call-in talk show in America, live every Saturday morning on any smart device at David G. Evans 1. I am so glad you've taken the time to join us today. My world-famous co-host, Reverend Nicholas Smith, is here today. Everything's buzzing around the plaza today. We're having our first drive-in service today at 12 noon. Our first drive-in service at 12 noon. You come, you park, you stay in your cars. You turn your radio on to signal 88.3. 88.3 FM. You can hear us, and then even if you want to simulcast, you can hear us on your radio and watch us on your device in your automobile. It's going to be warm today, so everybody's going to be in their cars, windows up, air conditioning on, and we're going to have a great time in the Lord as we talk about something that's needed today. You need to understand that the quality of every season is in God's control. The quality of every season is in God's control, and favor is what you have been experiencing during the time that we have been isolated, if you will, by this pandemic. We're going to talk about favor today. You want to be here with us. We know we're going to get some people that listen to us other than our members. We know you're coming, so just start getting here in time enough.
Yeah, reserve spots.
Yeah.
I was going to say reserve seating, but
we don't have it. You got to get your car and then get parked. But we're looking forward to spending some time with you today. It's been the first time we've gathered in any mass form since the pandemic began, and we're looking forward to having the opportunity to address you, to pray for you, to experience God in a way that we used to experience the movies back in the day. Went to the drive-in, stayed in your car, turned the speaker up, and watch what you came to watch. But today we're coming to celebrate the Lord in our drive-in service.
Yeah, and we're going to air it tomorrow night at 6.
Okay, so we'll air it again. Yeah.
Well, we're going live today.
Going live today.
You want to go live?
No, we're going live today, right?
No, we're just going to record today.
Okay.
Play it tomorrow at 6.
Okay, all right, that's cool.
I mean, but you in charge of
No, y'all got it worked out. I'm just, point me in the right direction. That's all.
You at your best.
I don't know why I always thought it was live, because we were outside.
We were going to at first.
Okay.
We were talking about the bigger scale.
Yeah.
And then we decided it'll save it for the 6 o'clock.
Okay.
Sunday.
Okay, cool. So we're going to have service today. If you want to come at 12 o'clock, we'd welcome you. 1-866-743-8267. 1-866-743-8267. Give us a call here on Point, the #1 Saturday morning Christian-based call-in talk show in America. Our callers, some of the most kingdom intelligent callers in the world, make this show a success every single Saturday. And we're so glad you join us, not from just the United States, all over the country, but outside the country, Africa, Asia, London, England, all watch us, all listen, all participate. You can reach us or comment on Facebook, Twitter, at David G. Evans 1, Instagram, at David G. Evans 1, at David G. Evans 1. We'd love to hear from you as we talk about the things that matter to you today. Now, the response to the young man being slain in Minnesota, I believe no one could have calculated it, because the nation had become somewhat anesthetized to these incidences, and you rarely heard any kind of national protest about an individual passing away because of injustice and obvious brutality. I think, from what I understand, the thing that set this off was the fact that what the nation saw on the video, the officials in the Minneapolis area, are kind of, by the way they addressed it, gave the impression that what you're going to believe what I'm telling you, or you're going to believe your lying eyes. I think 8-9 minutes of consistent video witnessed by a few hundred people, and then now witnessed by millions of people. I think that is irrefutable. You can't argue context. You can't argue whether it was excessive or not. And, when I saw it, it looked as though There were at least 4 officers around the young man, handcuffed on the ground on his face. And the officer felt a need to put his knee on the guy's neck, and another guy, I understand, at some point was on his midsection. So there's Mr. Floyd's demise, tragic. The response, attention-getting, but not productive.
Right.
When we understand that behavior is an interpretation of environment, then you start to understand why people react to things a certain way. If I'm in an environment that appears to be hopeless, I have no hope in my surroundings, then I have no value for my surroundings. I tend to diminish the precious nature of things built if I don't interpret them as, if you will, giving me hope in my environment. So what we're seeing now is an interpretation of environment, hopelessness, injustice, racism. And the reason racism is so uncomfortable is because it hates to be acknowledged. When racism is acknowledged, we tend to try to go to other reasons to, watch this, justify or establish some kind of false equivalency between the act and what the act produced. Mm-hmm. We seem to do that. And I think that I'm watching language very closely. Mm-hmm. This is largely being reported as a protest, when in other times, if the protesters are primarily something other than Caucasian, it's immediately a riot. Mm-hmm. But now we're seeing protest.
Absolutely. Yep.
That's the verbiage that's being used. And I think that the problem is, and I agree with others, that we have this issue now, and we are asking the people guilty of the problem to solve it. We're asking police officers to solve a brutality issue. We're asking people that are not being discriminated against, we're asking the discriminators to fix the discrimination. It cannot happen without the voice of those who feel like they are not having the same opportunities in this country. And I am in no way, no shape or form, have never condoned you burning stuff down to make a statement. Right. It does more than just make a statement. It sets an economic impact, negative, for years to come. Yeah. I remember when Watts was the subject of riots, never fully recovered. When I go to Detroit to minister, it never fully recovered. And we're talking 30.
Yeah, that was back to the 70s, right?
Yeah, we're talking 30, 40 years ago. Yeah. So what I'm trying to say is the impact of these incidences are way past next week. Yeah. So I think that what we need to do is have some conversation about why the reaction to this latest. And I kind of believe it's because when you shoot someone, that can be debatable. Context, maybe you didn't see what happened, you didn't hear words. But when you visibly choke someone on national TV and will not listen to people telling you, including the young man being choked, I can't breathe, somebody tell my mom I love them, somebody tell my kids, this kind of thing. And some folk actually thought it was humorous. Mm-hmm. When is the loss of life humorous? And when do we care for other people's children like we would want our own cared for? I don't care. I know people who don't have any vocal feelings about this. Mm-hmm. But even if their child had been accused of something, they would not have seen what happened to Floyd as justice. Right. So I'm wondering where, and I'm getting to the Christian community, the silence of some of my contemporaries is really bothering me. Now, there are a few that have vocalized immediately. Yep. Don't want to bring any extra heat to them, so I won't mention their names. But the reality is that the silence of many of my contemporaries that are not impacted by the neighborhood being impacted, the silence is so telling. In that, in this context, it appears to be agreement. Now, we know it's accepted because you haven't said anything. But the length of the silence appears to be agreement. And I wonder, you know, we have always attempted to be sensitive to every member that we have, regardless of the color of their skin. But some of my contemporaries have an insensitivity to the population they pastor. Almost as, you know, I know one national evangelist who, extraordinarily popular, who turned her meeting into a political rally. And I'm not talking about what I heard, I'm talking about what I was told by someone that was there. And thousands of minority people got up and walked out. And she actually celebrated them leaving. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Let them go. It's fine. Come on. Let's keep this thing going. Let's keep this celebration pumped up. Da 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 da.
That's privilege right there.
It's insanity to me, because, you know, what you've just told part of your audience is that we don't care about you. But I think it was necessary.
To see the reality.
Yeah, I think it was necessary, because some people are under the impression they're in some kind of relationship with you when it's absolutely a transaction.
Absolutely.
I didn't mean to take up all that time.
No, you good. You good. But you know what's funny? Did you see the clips of the non-white, non-black people looting and rioting too?
Yes, that's why it's called a protest.
Yeah, and did you see the guy at AutoZone?
Yep.
They thought that they're researching to see if it was actually an undercover cop that went under there and did that.
I hear that they believe it was.
Yeah, and so, but to go into what you're saying, MLK's quote on the white moderate is just so on point.
Okay.
He said, I've been gravely disappointed with the white moderate. The Negro's greatest stumbling block in his stride toward freedom is not the Ku Klux Klan, but the white moderate who's more devoted to order than justice.
Wow.
Which kind of explains why they stay so quiet all the time.
Okay.
Because that's all they're concerned about. So it's not the ones wearing the sheets. That's the biggest issue.
Absolutely. And I wonder sometimes, is it, I'm not going to say is it valid, it is valid. When we see people of influence who say nothing, it's a revelation of their heart.
Absolutely.
There's no way you can get around it. You've got something to say about everything else.
Everything else, yep.
But you get to one of these incidences, something as national, international at this point, and you have a preacher with nothing to say is an amazing thing.
Yeah.
That's a miracle.
Right. Yep. Yep.
But you know, you tend not to speak your heart when it does not have righteous motivation.
Yep.
Tend not to step into these things.
Sorry,
go ahead.
It just, to me, continues to show how they see people of color. It's like,
or don't see them,
or don't act like you don't see them. The perspective is you either deserve this, something you did. So when they you see the autopsy report, the guy came out and did the speech on it. It said he
underlying health causes.
Right.
No, okay. Underlying health causes. Okay, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. Would those underlying health causes have become a factor if he didn't have a 215-pound man leaning on his neck with his knee?
Exactly.
So, what, like we were talking about last night, they want to talk about the reaction and not what caused it.
Yep. If that would have never happened, he would still be alive today.
But I mean, come on. I'm 60-some years old. Somebody's leaning on my neck. if I don't have an underlying cause that's causing me concern, it's going to surface during a time when I can't breathe.
Absolutely. Absolutely. People have heart attacks under that stress, all that.
Come on, man.
But it's just so sad that I remember years ago, remember the whole racial reconciliation thing?
Yeah.
Movement was going on?
Yeah.
It was, what they didn't talk about was racial reconciliation on their terms.
Right.
Not on a combined, agreed terms on both sides.
Well, if I feel oppressed by equality, and that's what a former majority will feel, I feel oppressed by equal opportunity. I feel oppressed by equality. I feel, and equality is an idea. Phone's ringing. Equality is an idea. Equality is an idea in the United States.
Right.
It is not a reality.
No, not at all.
We have equal talent, but we do not have equal opportunity.
Right. And so that whole all men are created equal thing, they were literally talking about only certain men.
Well, yeah.
Right.
So you can't control who has talent, but you can control the doors that you allow that talent to walk through.
Absolutely.
So, when we control that talent, the doors that talent can walk through, then we find ourselves protecting or guarding our territory.
Yep.
We brought up women in employment yesterday. I thought was a good part of the conversation.
Yeah.
And that when a lady brings up inequality in the employment arena, she's considered a feminist.
Right.
Ignoring the fact she doesn't have equal pay, did not have the same opportunity,
Right.
has a ceiling over her that a man doesn't have.
Yeah.
Ignoring the fact that oftentimes, historically, ultimately qualified, but not having the relationships to get promoted.
Right.
One of the things I'm going to talk about today, you really do have to be like someone, by someone, to get favor
True.
in the workplace.
Yep.
Somebody's got to like you. They don't like you,
Right.
you don't get the favor.
Right.
So the reality is that ladies experience this kind of discrimination. They are condemned for bringing it up,
Right.
called negative terms. You're a feminist, you're this, you're anti-male.
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm just telling you, I should get paid the same as you get paid
Absolutely.
for 40 hours of work.
Absolutely. And that power trip from the people in charge,
Yeah.
men or different race, whatever, to me, I think people use God as a means to an end.
Yeah.
So I'm using God to justify my power and to get power.
Okay.
That's what it's looking like to me.
Yep. Yep.
Rather than Jesus came with all power, but as a humble servant. You know what? It was the family. You watched the family documentary on Netflix.
Yes.
When their whole view of Jesus is a strong lion that came in to do all this stuff.
Yeah.
Just completely misread the Gospels.
Yeah.
That his strength was in his humility.
Yep.
His service, and he only reacted when it was necessary.
Absolutely.
So it's nothing wrong turning over the tables. He didn't do that every single day of his life.
They wanted the revolutionary Jesus. They didn't want the
Right.
They wanted to tear up the room Jesus. They didn't want to be humble and holy
Right.
Jesus. Okay.
Jesus came in on the donkey.
Yeah, man.
Sign of humility.
Yeah.
He went to war by being the Prince of Peace. That's how he brought war in.
Wow.
They were literally celebrating the peace coming into the town.
Right.
That's how he brought victory. But we've got this whole strong arm. America's restored to this superpower like God wanted us to be. You know.
We're outnumbered. America's outnumbered.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I think that well, 1-866-743-8267, 1-866-743-8267, 1-866-74-EVANS. Give us a call. We need to hear your opinion. Write us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, at David G. Evans 1. Let's see your comments. Let's get this conversation going this morning. I want to remind you once again, as you're dialing your phones and speaking into your phones and however you're going to reach us, typing a message, and want to remind you that at 12 noon today, we have our first drive-in worship service. 12 noon today, all are invited. Our first drive-in worship service. We're looking forward to seeing you. And you want to join us tomorrow online at 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 noon, and 6 in the evening. 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12 noon. and 6 in the evening. Once again, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, and 6 in the evening tomorrow. Full day of ministry that's made available to you. 1-866-743-8267. What you got, Pastor Nick?
Well, I mean, people are chiming in on different circumstances, different things, but it just amazes me, and we talked about this a little bit yesterday. How we have a whole day where a whole country celebrates rioting, violence, looting, pillaging.
You talking about 4th of July?
4th of July.
Okay.
We celebrate that day as freedom, but never mind how we got it. But then condemn people who want to be free, who are doing actually maybe 10% of what the 4th of July represents. But again, the who determines the what.
Yep.
And most people don't recognize, like, the Boston Tea Party wasn't celebrated until like almost 100 years after it happened.
Right. Because
it was considered a bad thing. They hurt the economy.
Yes, they did.
It's equivalent of, like, they said $1.7 million just from that one act.
Wow.
Hurt taxes.
Wow.
Stole from people.
Wow.
Theft, all that. But yet we celebrate this thing, and we fantasize that this great American dream came, by humble people that wanted. It was all about money and power.
Well, we tend, as a country, we tend to take what we want. Historically, that's what we've done, and people don't like to hear it that way. That we call the killing of people conquering a frontier.
Yeah.
So we have to dehumanize the act. The big deal for a lot of people is throwing tea into the lake. I mean, to the river. Yeah. Well, that wasn't the big thing.
Right.
Making it a tea party.
Right.
It de-emphasized the humanity that was impacted.
Yes.
We have a tendency to do that. We, instead of opening up our mouths, we tie ribbons around oak trees. It's ridiculous.
Right.
It's ridiculous how we can.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. 1-866-743-8267. We've got Pastor Johnson from Cape May, and we've got Ava from Utica. Come on, let's go to Pastor Johnson. What's up, Pastor Willie?
Hey, Bishop, how you doing?
I'm all right, man. How are you this morning? Welcome to On Point.
Thank you, Bishop. Just listening to you, and my one question is, I got a quick phone call last night from the NAACP in Cape May County.
Okay.
And now they're trying to reach out to find out what to do or what they should be doing in response to this George Floyd issue.
And NAACP is calling you to ask you how they should respond?
Oh, yeah, in the county. Cape May County.
In the county, okay.
And so...
I thought they supposed to be telling us, man.
Correct.
Okay.
So
that's where my question comes from. Okay. Go ahead. Finish talking, man. I'm sorry. I
interrupted.
They're
calling, looking for ideas.
Okay.
And so I just wanted to run by you and hear what you thought. The first thing I told them, first of all, in my 57 years, it's the first time I was really outraged to watch something like this. And there's been many.
Yeah.
And I couldn't stay quiet. So yesterday I went live just to say something, because anybody who's staying quiet is suspect to me now.
Yeah. I think this is a non-interpretable event.
Yeah.
It's pretty clear. You got a grown man with his knee on a grown man's neck, who's handcuffed on his face.
Yep.
There's a problem with that.
Absolutely.
You can interpret it any way you want. Yeah. There's a problem with that.
And he never resisted arrest.
No.
Yes.
From the door, even the tape before that, he was complying.
And all my co-workers and different leaders and different other people I do business with are silent, and it's aggravating me.
The policeman was behaving according to the way he interpreted his environment.
Yeah.
That's true.
Wow.
Yeah.
And there's no way he had the expression on his face, his knee on the young man's neck. The guy looked like he was half under the car.
Yep.
On his face, handcuffed, knee on the neck, 3 other officers present. Was he really resisting? He wasn't armed, and he was a suspect of forage. Suspect. But does writing a check cost you your life?
Right.
I mean, it's just all wrong.
Unbelievable.
But for him to have been so brazen looking into cameras with this expression on his face, means to me that this is not the first time he's been in trouble.
Did you hear?
And he did not expect anything other than what his historic reactions from his superiors were going to be.
Did you hear about
and comfortable with the system that would afford him to do it?
Yes.
Did you hear about Klobuchar?
Okay.
She was either a senator or something in Minnesota.
Okay.
And who Biden was looking for VP.
Right.
They went back to her history. This guy's had complaints for years about how he treats people.
Okay.
How many? 18. And Klobuchar did nothing to this guy. She just let keep passing.
Was she in position to do something about it?
Yes. And she allowed it to keep going.
How was she defending that?
Well, I don't think she said anything.
Okay.
Because it just came out the other day.
It's going to be hard to defend.
Because Biden was considering her as a VP, but I don't think, not now after this.
They're going to react very passionately to any accusation, because I've said it 3 times already. Racism hates to be acknowledged.
Yep.
And that's by anybody.
Yep.
It's just one of those things. Pastor Willie, how's my sister doing?
She's doing good. She finally got her procedure done Tuesday.
Okay.
And she was there from 12:30 in the afternoon till 7 at night, Bishop.
Wow.
And she was beat up when she came out of there. But
tell her I'm praying for her and I love her, man.
I am. She's up moving, so I guess she's feeling a lot better.
Yeah. Thank you, Jesus.
Yeah.
So.
All right, Doc. Thank you for calling.
You,
That's Pastor Willie Johnson calling from Cape May County. Talk to you soon,
God bless
man.
you, Bishop and Pastor Nick. Good to see y'all.
All right, man. Bye-bye. Ava.
How you doing, Bishop? Pastor Nick, how are you today?
How you doing?
I am, I'm not usually that person that, acts up all the time, as y'all know, right? But
I was about to say it's gonna come. It's coming. The jokes are coming.
Ava, this is a kingdom-based show.
I was watching a video and I literally cried, which is usually out of my character as far as to watch something and be moved that much. I'm not a crier for the most part.
Yeah.
And I'm struggling right now because, one, Utica is predominantly white, well, first of all, and I'm used to being the only black person around.
Okay.
I'm used to hearing, a lot of different stuff and perspectives. And I feel like as a black person, a lot of times you got to feel, I feel the need to be like, am I wrong? Did I overreact? Was it really racial intent? Was somebody just being a douche today? You know what I mean? You're always trying to balance to where you're not seeming like, you're always that person. Okay. I'm struggling going to church when I know for a fact, and you can't knock a whole church because of certain people in there. But when you see people comment, people that you're fellowshipping, quote unquote, with, you know what I'm saying, and they're showing up with your Bible studies and they're posting stuff, you know what I'm saying, and they're using or trying to use Bible to be like, oh, this is not the right way, this is not this. I said, okay, so if they take a knee, y'all got an issue on that too, right? Quiet protest. There's an issue if you take a knee. When I'm crying, you don't hear me cry. You know what I'm saying? Also, Ava, do you feel like it's okay for them to loot? I say tear the whole place down brick by brick. When you fly over it, all you should see is smoke coming up from there. Because I'm here to tell you that if it was my son,
burn the whole
Ava.
Bring the whole thing down.
Bring it down. Bring it down. Bring it back a little bit, girl. Bring it back. Kingdom show. Bring it back.
You can't blow things
my
up.
Daughter. My daughter. Ava, my child.
Tell me something, Bishop, 'cause I can't wrap my brain around it. I can't understand how many times, what can I do? I can't blow you up. I can't set your house on fire.
Yeah.
I can't take a knee. I can't say nothing. If I say something, you don't hear me. So what else can I do?
Well, I think,
and the Bible is not always turn the other cheek. Sometimes we gotta blow stuff up.
I think I'm sure God doesn't state it like that.
Right.
Ava, let's bring a little other wisdom to this conversation that we're having with you this morning. I kind of believe that what we're seeing is an interpretation of environment and the hopelessness that's in it. I think when people see their environment as hopeless, they tend to react in ways that those of us who don't see our environment as hopeless wouldn't react. It's an amazing dynamic. It does not eliminate. Here's the thing that I think we get hung up in. People that are criticizing the reaction are trying to ignore the cause.
Right.
Minimize the reality and the weight of the cause.
Yeah.
Both are wrong, and both have camps that are trying to justify them. But the reality is, you have to have a 1 before you have a 2. You have to have a start before you have a stop. So there is not going to be any kind of way just to make this go away. What happened to the young man happened. We all saw it. It's not going to go away, and you can't rationalize it away. Although it appears to me that those that are doing the injustices feel as though that all that's going to happen is some loud voices for 2 or 3 days.
Yep.
Right.
So the pattern
That's exactly what they
is make some noise and then it'll stop. We've watched people, black and white, shot, Hispanic, shot, Asian, shot. We've watched it happen and have not reacted as a nation. So what's the uncomfortability of the situation is you've got it appears as though this thing is spreading across the country. And the only people rioting are not the ones, or the protesting, are not the ones, that's what they call them, protests.
Protesters, right.
Are not the ones that have been, their community has not been harmed by the incident. So, and because the protest is integrated, there is very little talk of rioting. It's about protesting.
Right.
Who determines what? Every time.
All the time. When they had fully loaded guns and they were boycotting not being able to get haircuts.
Nobody said a thing.
They were very good people. You could sit down with them and make an agreement and figure some things out. And it's never the verbiage when it's our people. I'm feeling right now.
They didn't use tear gas on them.
Yeah.
And they had guns.
Yeah.
Pushing the cops. Loaded. Pushing them.
And they were pushing policemen. They were pushing policemen. So there is that equality that we want to theorize about, in essence, does not exist, and it comes out in a crisis.
Right.
Bible lets us know, character is always revealed in a crisis. Always. And not only character.
So are you saying that, so what I'm saying is, not that you have all the answers, almost highly won, right, but what are we supposed to do? Because I am a rager. I really do. And I have to check myself before I walk out because I rage.
Okay.
That's my fear mechanism.
Okay.
I don't, I'm not going to cower up underneath the table.
Right.
I'm going to rage. Okay. And I recognize that about myself.
The thing
myself in.
The thing that causes us, here's the problem. When we are in a rage, no one hears us. So what we do, what actually happens now, if I go off in a rage, and here's the psychological and the heart piece of this, I'm actually not trying to drive you away. I'm trying to get you to hear me. Yeah. But I'm using a method that forces you away.
Right.
So ultimately, I don't get hurt. So
you don't feel like, and like I said, I know I need a private pastor, and that's obvious.
Yeah.
But you don't feel that. I know I'm raging, and I know I'm about to tear everything in my vicinity up. But my purpose is to make you hurting like I'm hurting. See, I don't understand why they blow up the target.
It doesn't work.
We both need to be in pain.
I don't get it. I don't get hurt.
Hear me.
I don't get hurt. I don't get hurt when you rage and tear something up that doesn't impact me.
Right. That's what I said. They blew up the target. You know what I'm saying? They should have moved it closer, like his house. And then we're both hurting.
Ava. We can't. Listen, Ava. Listen to me. You're a brilliant woman. But right now, you're allowing your rage to take you into areas that I think would not get you what you wanted.
Okay.
And I think that may have happened before, right?
Yeah. I mean, I throws it in. So I told you I gotta lock myself in a room, and I really do. And I gotta. It's too much.
See, mine is a quiet anger because I actually lived some of this stuff back in the 60s. So it is difficult for me to watch these images because I actually did have to go to separate bathrooms and eat at separate counters and had to drink at a separate fountain in Virginia. I remember these things vividly, even though it was in my youth. You know, I went to a boarding school where I had to literally lead a movement, so we had actual equality on the student level. You know, they thought I was
Right.
Stokely Carmichael at the school, but really was. I'd come out of an urban environment, and I realized the inequity was so it was cultural. So I led a movement, and the headmaster had to call my mother out to the school to get me. My mother outed me in the meeting. It said, "Here's your leader right here." You know, and the headmaster says, "Okay, Evans, we need you to stop." And I did my first social negotiation at that point. Okay, we'll stop if you do. Now I had to expose myself as the leader, but then because I was staying undercover, and that it was almost like a Bin Laden, you know. So
You that was underground.
yeah, I was underground. So I had to expose myself, but I said, okay, for this to stop, this is what has to happen. So I get the passion and the angst and the anger and the all that goes along with it, but it has to be managed for it to be effective. And the school changed forever. Do you understand what I'm telling you?
Right.
It changed forever. And you know, that was back in 1968. The school changed forever, and still today, the culture is different.
I understand.
So I'm talking rationally because you need me to be, but my sensitivity to this type of thing comes from a history, and people have heard it before. The Ku Klux Klan on my grandparents' lawn, cross burning, threatening to burn down the house and kill my grandparents, to Martin Luther King eating in our kitchen in Chester, Pennsylvania when he was in seminary at Crozier. In Chester. That's the journey I had. So I'm real sensitive to this, but I know it's got to be dialogue, it's got to be voting, and it's got to be economics. If we don't vote in mass,
Right.
we ought to be harassing these Congress people and these senators until they can't rest. But we can't.
So redirect.
You got to redirect it.
Redirect the
Got to redirect it. We cannot shout for 3 days and this thing goes away because they're depending on the people that need the change to get quiet after a couple days.
Yep.
But it's not burning down stuff. It's burning up phone lines.
Okay.
Shutting down offices with activity, phone, email. I mean, causing these things to be overwhelmed by the number of emails and stuff that they're getting. So they can't ignore it.
I'm for it, whatever it takes, because
But we ain't burning down nothing, neighbor.
Especially what you're saying. And one of the areas where we fail at is local voting.
Absolutely.
We're always looking for the national. We vote for national.
We vote for presidents. We don't vote
Right.
locally, so we don't affect the change.
Because the police department is not run by the national
No.
government. It's your local mayor, your local politicians.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
we skip those
Yep.
and get mad at what's
Just
going
stay
on in the area.
just stay home.
Yeah. When your local mayor, your local council people are the ones managing all this stuff.
Yeah.
What about your pocketbook? Where you spend your money?
Yeah, where you spend your
Oh,
money.
yeah.
all right. Well,
I
do that all day.
went to buy my grandson. He likes ham and cheese. So I go to buy him some ham and cheese at the store. I'm looking at a 1.5, 2-inch pack of American cheese, almost $7.
Yeah.
That's not what that
Yeah.
used to cost.
All this money now.
Nope.
They're raising the prices some since the pandemic.
Lunch meat is crazy.
But it's up.
Lunch meat is out the park,
Yeah, man. Used to get them little packs and
man. Boy, you're putting too much meat on that sandwich.
Right, yeah.
I never
Yeah,
used to say
everything.
that. I never used to say that.
Right. Remember we used to get the whole roll and
Oh
cut
man,
them in
come on,
slices
come
and-
on, man.
Man, had some bologna and cheese.
Gotta go, Ava.
All right.
Talk to you. Stay strong now.
All right.
All right, praying for you.
Isn't that what they did during apartheid?
But
Mr.
who?
Economics?
Bunny.
Bunny.
Bishop, hey, I just want to say before we get started,
Ava, girl, I feel you. I feel you.
They all in the
girl.
comments agreeing with her.
Oh, no. Come on, y'all.
I feel her. I'm not going to burn down anything, but girl, I feel.
You understand the emotion.
I understand. That's the part.
Okay, that's what I want to get clear.
understand the emotion. People know me as being, I'm moderate, a little bit right of center, all of that, and I think some of the things that I've been posting on Facebook may have shocked some of my white Facebook followers or whatever. But okay, this is a couple of things. Number one, I thank God for Bishop Mark Sharona because he posted on his Facebook page in bold, loud, with his picture on it.
I saw it.
You saw it. Okay, if we cannot hear the cries of our African-American brothers and sisters, we are truly deaf and heartless. If we fail to stand with them in solidarity, we are equally complicit. I am so glad to hear. So I reposted it on my page so that could be seen. That's number one. Number two, because of, like I said before, people kind of know me as easygoing and kind of like my dad's temperament and things of that nature. And some of the things that I posted, like stop telling me to just pray. I do pray. Just stop killing us, you know. Yeah. And I think that kind of shocked some people who know me. Okay. So I have some Trump-supporting ministers, pastors who are Facebook friends and all of that. Of course, you know some of the stuff. You can just imagine some of the things that they've been putting on their pages.
Sure.
Some people I have had to unfriend. Some I've chosen to keep for my own reasons. Okay. But they will have to be addressed. In my opinion, I'm once I get my mom situated, she's back at home, thank God. Wonderful. And taking care of, I'll have more time to do a Facebook Live. This is what I needed suggestions from you and Pastor Nick. I have my own thoughts. What would be some of the things you would want me to ask them or address? I mean, I already know what I want to do, but I wanted to hear another perspective from you, and because I'm going to have to do this. It's for my own sake and sanity, as well as, you know, for those pastors who have seen the video, for an example, of George Floyd, and who are making fun of the, as you say, the protests, right? You know, and all of that. I've been silent, not within myself, but like on social media. I can't be silent right now, and I wanted to know some of the, because see, as wide as your voice is, Bishop, because I followed you for some years, actually. Your voice still doesn't get everywhere. No. And so there's something about your voice and Pastor Nick's voice that I really like. And so in those crevices where your voice might not reach, what would be some of the things? And I have a pad and pencil right now.
I'm my contemporaries, I'm always interested in when the Constitution took precedence over biblical principle. When did they see Jesus support injustice, unrighteousness? Okay. You know, when did you begin to use the Constitution and the Bible on equal footing? And that is, I don't see what I want to see that's there. I don't see what I don't want to see that's there in the Bible when it's necessary. I don't see in the Constitution what I don't want to see when it's necessary. They seem to be switching them in and out, and at times they seem to be blending them. Yes. But the Constitution, as great as it is, and as wonderful work as the Founding Fathers did, every word is not inspired by God.
All right, now.
It's a flawed document.
So It's flawed because as much as we would like to make it and give it biblical weight, it is not the Word of God.
Yeah.
So the ultimate, I just want to know, when did the Bible take second place to polity and practice and politics, and suddenly constitutional law trumps biblical law? I think these things will get you close to maybe understanding where they're coming from in their thinking.
Okay.
And the other thing that's after this administration is out of office, and now that your heart has been revealed, how do you repair the relationships that you damaged?
Oh my God, yes.
Because what I think, and this is not a question, what I think, Bunny, is that I find in counseling, and I've counseled a bunch of folk, when something is highly emotional, and you've been holding it for a while, when the opportunity to express it comes out, you express a moment like it's going to brand a lifetime.
Yes.
You're talking like it's never going to end, and things will never change.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering. We said this is a year of imagination, open mouth vision. I'm wondering what kind of America we're imagining, all of us. What are we imagining as the country we want to leave our children and our grandchildren?
Yes.
And that's a question for them. What kind of country do you imagine we're leaving for our children and our grandchildren? And there's the before this administration's answer, and then there's an after administration answer.
I wanted to also hear from Pastor Nick.
Oh, he said it all, really.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
I mean, it's just,
okay, I didn't know if you had an additional perspective.
I don't. We can barely fix our own hearts.
Yes.
I'm not sure how we can fix somebody else's.
Oh, yes, sir.
And I think if we focus on trying to fix everybody else's heart, we take on a task of being God rather than letting God shape and convict the heart of people. That doesn't mean we stay silent and we don't do.
No, we have to act in accordance.
We act on accordance on our part, but we can barely get our own lives together. So
that's right. I like that.
But I think the leave it to Jesus thing.
Oh, no, not that. Yeah, not that.
That's not working.
No, we got to participate, do our part, and leave the rest.
As if we don't have a part in changing this. And
faith without works is dead.
Christians are famous for saying, "I'll pray about it" when they don't want to do it.
Yeah. That's right.
It's a cop out. They lying.
That's right.
Yeah, that's the famous church lie. Oh yeah, I'm praying about it. No, you ain't doing nothing.
No, yeah.
I'm holding my hand up because I've been guilty of that.
That's our way out of the conversation many times.
Right.
Let me seek the Lord on it.
Right,
okay. Yeah. Like God didn't hear us tell that lie.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bunny.
Thank you. All right.
Be safe now.
All right. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Danny. Oh, wait. Hold on for me, man. Don't go anywhere. Jonathan.
Yes. Good morning.
How you doing, buddy?
Okay. I silenced the computer there. How am I doing? Too much evil for me this week.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. I'm not black, but the city I grew up in, the town, we were all white.
Okay.
This is Germans, Polish, some English, and
where'd you grow up?
A little town called Houtsdale.
Where's it?
In west central Pennsylvania. It's about an hour west of Penn State.
Houtsdale.
It's called God's country.
Are you out near Altoona?
Yeah, above Altoona.
Okay.
Yeah.
We got 5 minutes, man. So let's be quick.
Yeah.
I got a friend that was raised in Altoona.
Oh, okay, but I'm not black, but I'm a member of humanity.
Absolutely.
I'm human. I'm a member of humanity, and this is an offense against humanity.
I agree with you.
From the bottom all the way up is evil all over the place.
I agree with you.
It's too much.
Yeah.
And it's like, as the coronavirus evil is winding down, Satan's like, okay, let's have some more other evil.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this is evil. It tells me that the evil entity over Minnesota and Minneapolis is very strong.
Mm-hmm.
We wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principality and powers in the invisible realm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and there's different generals, evil generals over different parts of the earth and the country.
Got 4 minutes, man.
Okay, and there's two things we can do. There's only two things we can do always.
Yeah.
And that's be righteous. And you were talking about that, what we can do, be righteous in our daily lives, in our actions, in our words, be righteous. And then that gives us power for prayer.
Yep.
And that prayer is what we can use to go against these evil entities in the invisible realm.
I think what we want to do is have faith without works. I think that's what we see. The religious community, I'm believing Jesus, but I'm not doing anything in response to my belief.
Right.
And that is incorrect biblically for us to do. There has to be a response to what you believe. There has to be action connected to what you believe. John, I got to go, man.
Yep, right. And
see you next time, all right?
Your show's been very cathartic today.
Thank you, man. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, very good.
All right, we got Danny. Hey, Danny, we got about 3 minutes, man. How you doing this morning?
Disturbed, but just...
That's a good word.
Yes, very much so. And like you were saying, you summed up what I was going to say. And coming up in the era that we came up in, we've seen it all.
Yep.
And we're in a period where time is not going forward, we're going back. It's just amazing how within less than 3 years, the country has gone back decades. Before, what was done in the dark is being done in the light, in daytime.
Yeah.
And people are seeing what's so amazing. You still have people that try to make excuses for these situations, and they're looking at it. I'm saying, what are you seeing?
Yeah.
You have eyes, but you're blind.
Yeah.
And I was telling some young men at the job, they were talking about different things they're going to do, this and that. The first thing I said, do you have a voter's registration card?
Whoa.
Do you?
What was their answer?
Hold their heads down.
Yep.
Because the reason why I made that statement, because before they were talking about, I don't think that this system, this and that. And I said, this is the reason why, because locally we let things happen. I said, we're talking about Minnesota and other places. I said, but remember, since you don't know the history that I know, but last year you had a young man that was a high school student that was slammed to the ground, that was beaten, and the officers that did it, and they falsified records stating that the young man was resisting arrest, he did this and that. The policemen are still working.
Wow.
But we stood by and we did not do anything about it, and we did not call the sheriff in for questioning on that particular situation, who's running back in the office.
Well, because all we want to do is scream for 2 or 3 days. We don't want the voice to be heard into the ballot box. We don't want the voice to be heard in the places where we stop spending our money.
And the hurtful thing to me is that when I went into service, I went off to a foreign war, and I came back, and it just breaks me up. When I came back to Miami, it looked like the war was here in my community, which was torn up.
Wow.
And it hurts.
Yeah, I know, man. I know. I have to be careful how much stuff I watch, because it brings up things I thought were healed, but they've just been kind of buried.
Amen. We have the same feelings.
Yeah, because once you've actually experienced some of this stuff in your youth, in your young adult years, it doesn't go away. It remains a place of sensitivity. Not driven by it now, but if I'm having a problem, it's in the list of 10 things I have to consider that perhaps it's because I'm an African-American man.
Yes. And it's sad that so many things that are still going on. Wherein that we have policemen who have done things here today that they disguise as drive-by shootings. They're not really drive-by.
No.
They have a hoopty, but the men that are in it are officers of the law.
Wow.
That are supposed to be undercover that are actually doing these things.
John, we got to go, man.
Okay, Bishop.
Tell my sister I said hello.
We'll do. God bless you.
Talk to you now. This has been On Point, the #1 Saturday morning Christian-based call-in talk show in the United States of America, live every Saturday morning, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. at David G. Evans 1 on any smart device. Write us today. Let us know what you think about this conversation on Facebook. As always, we try to be balanced. We attempt to be balanced, and I'm sure we were today as we looked at both sides' responses and causes and those things that we needed to talk about. Some uncomfortable, but absolutely necessary for our wisdom to grow. Well, stay strong, stay safe. Remember, faith acts like a thing is so, even when it's not so, that it might be so. See you at 12 noon at our first drive-in worship service.